Belum, sampai ada tandanya record di atas.
Aku nggak bisa
Udah.
lihat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kami dari kelompok 7 ingin mempresentasikan dari ketiga jurnal yang berbeda. Adapun anggotanya adalah yang pertama dari saya sendiri, Dian Fadla Rahmawati. Lalu selanjutnya itu ada Ana Zulfa Hasana, dan yang terakhir ada Herunisa. Oke, langsung saja untuk presentasi yang pertama, yaitu dari saya sendiri. Dari jurnal yang berjudul Extensive Reading in Indonesian Schools, A Successful Story. The writers from Christina Laksmita Anandari and Yusefa Riani Iswandari. Keywords-nya yaitu ada extensive reading, contributing factors, and the last literasi. From also DOI from http://TIFL-10.ORG-TIFL-in-journal.f30E2-152-152. For the background general, the low level of literacy of the Indonesian student has become a major nationwide concern in Indonesia. Dengan rendahnya tingkat literasi, pelajar Indonesia menjadi salah satu penyebab utama kepedulian nasional di Indonesia. PISA pada tahun 2015 atau Program for International Student Assessment, results showed that Indonesian student literacy level in English was one of the lowest in the world. Jadi pada program PISA ini menunjukkan bahwa tingkat literasi siswa Indonesia di bahasa Inggris adalah salah satu yang terendah di dunia. Lalu untuk background spesifiknya yaitu Gerakan Literasi Nasional atau GLN was established.
Dian?
Ya?
Sorry, itu kamu di slideshow aja.
Udah?
Oh, di aku belum.
Emang iya?
Sama di aku juga belum. Masih di yang slide pertama.
Oh, oke. Sebentar. Kelihatan nggak? Udah kelihatan kan?
Ya, udah.
Oke. Langsung lanjut aja ya. Background spesifik. Untuk background spesifiknya itu Gerakan Literasi Nasional atau GLN berdiri pada tahun 2016 sebagai salah satu solusi yang memungkinkan untuk memajukan bangsa Indonesia tingkat literasi siswa. Adapun program membaca ekstensif dilakukan di sekolah dan di universitas yang dijelaskan dengan sejalan visi misi GLN, yaitu program dan kegiatan membaca ekstensif memainkan peran yang luar biasa di sekolah-sekolah dan upaya komunitas untuk membuat tindakan yang lebih mapan dan terencana dengan baik, meningkatkan tingkat literasi siswa. Untuk research question-nya di sini yaitu adanya pertanyaan, how can we achieve high literacy for our future generation? Jadi, bagaimana kita bisa mencapai literasi tinggi untuk generasi masa depan kita. Dan salah satu kemungkinan jawaban yaitu akan menciptakan lingkungan membaca yang positif di sekolah melalui program membaca ekstensif. Untuk research objektifnya, maka dari itu tulisan ini akan membahas 2 hal tujuan, yaitu yang pertama, describing steps on establishing a successful extensive reading program at Indonesian school, yaitu mendeskripsikan langkah-langkah untuk membentuk membaca ekstensif yang sukses program di sekolah-sekolah Indonesia. And the last, reporting factors that contribute to the success of extensive reading program. Yang kedua ini adalah faktor pelaporan yang berkontribusi pada keberhasilan program membaca yang ekstensif. Temuan penelitian ini terungkap betapa ekstensif kegiatan membaca mendukung keberhasilan GLN melalui pembuatan program membaca ekstensif di dalam dan di luar kurikulum. Dan bagaimana sekolah dan budaya literasi rumah dapat menjadi faktor pendukung keberhasilan dari program ini. Untuk slide selanjutnya itu research methods participant. Di sini untuk mencapai tujuan pertama penelitian, dilakukan wawancara dengan guru bahasa Inggris di sekolah SMK swasta di Surakarta. Beliau telah mengajar bahasa Inggris untuk siswa kelas 11 selama 6 tahun terakhir. Saat ini menginterpretasikan gerakan literasi sekolah di kelas bahasa Inggrisnya dengan menggabungkan bacaan intensif dan bacaan ekstensif. Sepanjang akademik, setiap tahun setiap siswa diberi tugas untuk membaca 3 novel dan menulis jurnal yang kemudian akan diserahkan ke guru. Untuk selanjutnya itu
Dian, sorry, bentar.
Iya.
Dian jaga-jaga juga dong, record aja. Sorry, baru ngabarin. Gak apa-apa, record sekarang aja, jaga-jaga. Thank you.
Oke. Sebentar. Ini udah berhenti merekam. Aku berhenti merekam.
Oh, yaudah. Berarti aku aja.
Oke. Oke, next. Di sini ada data collection. Data and factors that contribute to the success of extensive reading program, which is the second objective of the study, were collected from interviews, field notes, and student journals. Jadi dari data tentang faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi terhadap keberhasilan program extensive reading atau IR, yaitu tujuan dari kedua dari penelitian ini telah dikumpulkan informasi dari beberapa wawancara serta catatan lapangan dan jurnal siswa. Wawancara ini dilakukan dengan 2 orang guru. Salah satunya adalah guru bahasa Inggris di sekolah menengah pertama swasta di Jogja. Dia telah melakukan program membaca ekstensif selama sekitar 2,5 tahun dengan bantuan IRA. Guru ini adalah penggemar IR atau extensive reading dan pembaca yang rajin. Beliau percaya pada kekuatan membaca ekstensif dan manfaatnya terutama untuk eval pelajar. Guru lainnya adalah seorang guru bahasa Inggris di SMA Negeri Yogyakarta yang menjadi sekolah mitra dengan para sastrawan. Guru melakukan program membaca ekstensif dengan bantuan dari IARA juga. Lalu ada data analisis. Untuk data analisis sendiri, catatan lapangan selama persiapan program membaca ekstensif di 2 sekolah tempat kedua guru itu mengajar, itu mengidentifikasi apakah program ini sudah bekerja dengan baik dan apa yang perlu ditinjau dalam membangun program extensive reading ini. Dari catatan lapangan membantu penulis untuk melihat bagaimana teori dapat diterapkan prakteknya. Dan akhirnya terdapat 72 jurnal siswa tentang perjalanan membaca pengalaman membaca mereka untuk dianalisis untuk meringkas faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi terhadap keberhasilan program ini. Lalu research findings-nya yaitu steps for establishing a successful extensive reading program at Indonesian schools. Untuk research finding yang pertama yaitu adanya langkah-langkah untuk membangun program membaca ekstensif yang sukses di sekolah Indonesia. Membangun program membaca ekstensif yang sukses membutuhkan kebaikan kerja tim antara administrator sekolah, guru, siswa, dan masyarakat. Adapun di dalam jurnal ini telah dilakukan wawancara online yang dilakukan pada bulan Januari 2019 dengan guru bahasa Inggris di Surakarta bahwa telah terbukti beliau memahami pentingnya bacaan ekstensif dan bagaimana GLS dapat digunakan sebagai platform untuk membangun sebuah program membaca ekstensif di sekolahnya. Adapun keberhasilannya mendirikan sebuah program membaca ekstensif di kelas bahasa Inggrisnya disebabkan oleh sejumlah alasan, yaitu yang pertama adanya persetujuan administrator sekolah. Menurut Ashraf dan Ahmad pada tahun 2003, mengungkapkan dalam penelitiannya bahwa sistem pendukung yang positif dari sekolah memungkinkan program tersebut bermanfaat bagi sekolah, siswa, dan guru. Adapun di sini juga program membaca ekstensif dalam panduan IRF untuk membaca ekstensif adalah sangat penting. Dukungan dari pengelola sekolah harus terbukti sedemikian rupa. Jadi sekolah harus memberikan rencana yang jelas tentang bagaimana merencanakan penggunaan perpustakaan. Salah satu saran untuk mendukung langkah pertama adalah administrator harus memfasilitasi dan memberikan dukungan penuh dalam mendanai buku-buku perpustakaan. Lalu yang kedua, adanya antusiasme siswa. Mungkin di sini siswa pada awalnya masih banyak yang tertekan untuk meningkatkan membaca, akhirnya adanya tekanan untuk siswa agar siswa ini mampu membaca bukunya setiap hari. Dengan adanya tekanan ini, jadi siswa ini bisa lebih rajin untuk membaca dan untuk kedepannya. Lalu yang ketiga adanya ketersediaan buku. Untuk research finding yang kedua, yaitu factors that contribute to the success of extensive reading program at Indonesian schools. Faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi pada keberhasilan program membaca ekstensif di sekolah Indonesia. Tujuan kedua dari penelitian ini menekankan pada faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi keberhasilan program membaca ekstensif di sekolah-sekolah Indonesia berdasarkan analisis catatan lapangan penulis yang diambil saat menyiapkan bacaan ekstensif program di sekolah dan jurnal pada perjalanan membaca mereka. Adapun 3 faktor utama yang berkontribusi terhadap keberhasilan membaca ekstensif di sekolah Indonesia adalah sebagai berikut. Yang pertama adalah home literacy culture. Jadi, seperti adanya perpustakaan di rumah. Di sini kita bisa untuk mengajak anak-anak atau anak usia dini untuk melatih membaca pada usia dini agar mereka terbiasa membaca hingga ke depannya ini kemampuan membaca mereka ini selalu meningkat. Lalu yang kedua ini ada teacher modeling. Yang ketiga ada consistency of the program. The last is conclusion. This paper discusses the necessary steps for establishing a successful extensive reading program at Indonesian schools and the factors that contribute to the success of extensive reading program. Jadi makalah ini membahas langkah-langkah yang diperlukan untuk membangun program membaca ekstensif yang sukses di sekolah-sekolah Indonesia dan faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi pada keberhasilan program membaca ekstensif. Penemuan selanjutnya berkaitan dengan faktor-faktor yang berkontribusi terhadap keberhasilan program membaca ekstensif. Budaya keaksaraan rumah diidentifikasi sebagai sangat berkontribusi bagaimana siswa menanggapi bacaan ekstensif. Mereka yang terpapar membaca di rumah sejak usia dini akan merespon lebih positif dan membaca secara mandiri dan lebih baik daripada mereka yang tidak punya pengalaman membaca di rumah. Apalagi para guru yang mencontoh membaca, baik di dalam maupun di luar kelas, mampu meyakinkan siswa dengan lebih baik percaya bahwa membaca itu penting dan menyenangkan. Dan yang terakhir adalah konsistensi program tersebut membuat sikap siswa terhadap membaca menjadi lebih positif. Okay, for the next presentation will be delivered by Sister Anna.
Sorry, ini enggak Q&A dulu.
Oh, ada.
Emang ada?
Iya. Iya nggak sih?
Oke, lanjutin aja.
Emang enggak? Ya kalau enggak ya udah. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have a question.
Oke.
Kalau ada question ya boleh.
Ya.
Emang sih cuman mastiin aja gitu. Aku mau tanya ya. Tadi kan disebutin kalau paper ini itu adalah menjelaskan tentang gimana caranya extensive reading itu dilakukan kan di sekolah. Nah, pertanyaan aku cuman kayak pengen make sure aja gimana cara sekolah tempat paper ini diteliti menerapkan extensive reading dalam kegiatan sekolah mereka gitu. Soalnya pengalaman aku dulu waktu SMA itu sebelum belajar kita diwajibin baca buku dulu gitu. Kalau di sekolah tempat paper ini diteliti gimana gitu. Itu doang sih.
Oh, Oke. Thank you Nisa. Nah, jadi kalau di sekolah ini itu, di dalam jurnalnya itu, mereka itu dikasih tugas untuk membaca novel atau cerita pendek selama 3 hari atau sekitar selama 3 hari kalau nggak salah. Lalu mereka ini setelah membaca itu melaporkan bacaannya, jadi dijadiin jurnal, habis itu langsung dikasih ke gurunya untuk dikoreksi. Seperti itu.
Oke, jelas. Terima kasih.
Oke. Ana ada pertanyaan?
Udah, Dian.
Oke.
No, I don't have a question. Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, now it's time to me to present the result of the journal. Salah, wait. Kelihatan?
Ongoing.
Nggak bisa di slideshow. Oh, bisa. By the way, ini gue nggak bisa lihat muka gue sendiri ya? Emang gitu ya? Atau gimana sih?
Biar gue yang lihat lah.
Oh, oke. Okay, so the journal, the title is Indonesian Students Strategies to Cope with Foreign Language Anxiety by Nur Hafiz Abdurrahman and Muhammad Ainur Razik from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia and Universitas Tanjung Pura.
Sorry for interrupt. Tapi ini di aku udah di background general. Mungkin diklik dulu yang bagian slide pertama. Oke, gotcha.
Okay. Let me repeat. The title is Indonesian Students Strategies to Cope with Foreign Language Anxiety by Nur Hafiz Abdurrahman and Muhammad Ainur Rizki, from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia and Universitas Tanjung Pura. And that is the DOI. And the background general for this journal is Indonesian students anxiety when learning foreign language with coping skills, strategies, and stimulated recall. So basically, Indonesian students, they have a different level of anxiety, and they also have different strategies to reduce and mask their anxiety, like coping skill strategies. Therefore, the researchers use the stimulated recall for this journal, for this method. And then the background specific is foreign language anxiety, or FLA, is one of the effective factors that influence foreign language anxiety, especially for Indonesian university students when they do their presentation. Therefore, in this research, we'll discuss the highest level of anxiety, which will use a coping strategy and stimulated recall. So this is true. What they are really very worried is when they did a presentation using a foreign language in front of their friends, of course. Therefore, it will arise anxiety, fear of failure, even though they have prepared the material previous day. And then what kinds the question of the researchers are looking for? There is three questions. Number one is how are the specific moments when students feel the most anxious? Number two, how to investigate their coping strategies. And the last, how to recognize the change in the strategies used by students during specific moments in their language learning. And now we're gonna look the answer of the question on the previous slide, which is rich question from number one. This is the research objective. Yes?
I can see the slide you refers to because in my laptop still in first slide actually. Okay. Are you forget to click it or something?
No.
Oh, it's not changed. Okay, go on.
What is the slide? Research objective.
Yes, qualitative approach.
Okay. So in this study, use a qualitative approach principle, which employing a stimulated recall method, which is also recognized as a retrospective method. King describes stimulated recall as a means of investigating individuals' concurrent thinking during specific past event. So what is a retrospective method? This is achieved by asking respondents to recall their thought process straight away after they have performed specific language learning tasks by MCK, for example, oral presentation. And this is the answer of the research question from the previous slide. Number one, how are the specific moments when students feel the most anxious? There are four answers. Number one is when they do their presentation in front of their friends. As I told before at the beginning, they are very anxious when they do their presentation because the answer on number two, when they did the mistake during presentation. They also feeling anxious when they did the mistake, like what's Shasha. Shasha is the one of the participant of this journal. She felt when her friends laughed at her when she made a mistake. So on that moment, Shasha used her strategies for coping strategies by resignation strategies. She adopted resignation strategies. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I don't know how to. Atau harus
Me
gini
too,
aja.
but now is
Atau
in
harus gini
research
aja.
questions.
I
What
don't have
happened?
to slide. I don't have to slideshow. Or what?
Ya udah nggak apa-apa gini aja.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, but okay. It's
Okay.
change now. Nggak usah
Yeah.
di itu berarti.
Slideshow.
Ah.
Okay. Wait. Okay, can I repeat? Number one is how are the specific moments when students feel the most anxious? Therefore, answer. And number one is when they do their presentation in front of their friends. As I told before at the beginning, they are very anxious when they did their presentation in front of their friends. And number two is when they did the mistake during their presentation. It's also one of factor the student feel as the most anxious because when they did the presentation and they did a mistake, and this the story of one of the participants. Her name is Shasha. Shasha is the friend. The friend is laughed of her because she did a mistake. So on that moment, Shasha feel very anxious, and Shasha decided to um, use a coping strategies uh, by resignation strategies. Resignation strategies is an attitude that is more inclined to surrender of something. Like she's the one to work more because they too are anxious and disappointed. The name is resignation strategies. And the next is when they forgot all of the notes they met before. They might make some notes for remember the material, but not a few students have experienced success. I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. Anak tetangga ya, maaf. Okay. But not a few students have experienced success where many of them forget the notes they have made before, and that moment was made them anxious during their presentation. And the last is when they performance not as good as expected. This also one factor that make them anxious because they already have a good expected before, but they already prepared before the day, so they felt very anxious when their performance not good as expected. And number two, the question number two is how to investigate their coping strategies. There are five answer. Number one is try to stay calm and relax. This is like what Jim did on his presentation. Number two is try to use the cycling. This is like what John did on his presentation. When John felt confused, blank, and nervous, he employed various uh, uh, cyclically active strategies to overcome his anxiety. The next is optimistic attitude, like positive thinking and go ahead. This is like what Sarah did on her presentation. Like she explained, can you see me, guys?
I can see your face actually. I don't know why.
Dian, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
I think your
Really?
connection is
Okay. Sorry.
okay. Okay, the next is optimistic attitude, like positive thinking and go ahead. This is like what Sarah did on her presentation. She said, explain. that it seemed like I always remind myself to stay positive and give my best because I want to have a good mark. So she always used a coping strategies by optimistic attitude and positive thinking. And next is resignation strategies. This is like what Shasha did on her presentation when she did a mistake and then her friend is laughed at her, and then Shasha used a coping strategies by resignation strategies. And the last is take some notes and read the notes. This is like what Wendy did on her presentation. Um, she said that she wasn't able to do it. It would go blank. So Wendy decided to use the coping strategies by take some notes and read the notes. And this is the last question. How to recognize the change in the strategies used by students during specific moments in the language learning? There are three answers. The first is the moment when they did the mistake during their presentation. Number two, the moment when they forgot all of the notes they made before. And the last is the moment when their performance not as good as expected. If we are found the student do that, we could say that the student in a period of changing strategies from how they very anxious to the period when they calm themselves. So this is the answer. And then next is who is the participant of this research? There are five participants. Actually, there is a student from a different faculties. John and Shasha in a same faculties. They are students who studied in engineering faculties. Jim, Sarah, and Wendy, they are a student who studied in teacher training faculties. And the next is research method or data collection. This study was conducted in 3 sessions over 3 weeks, where both authors become the observers and interviewers with the help of two English language teachers to teach their respective classes. On the first week was devoted to collecting questionnaire data, 11 open-ended questions, and one Likert scale question. On the first week, they made an open-ended question was adapted from the Make Antier and Gregsons on 2012 list of 12 potentially anxious environments and Zhang and Zhong's 2012. There are 4 anxiety categories. Learner indexes anxiety. Number 2 is classroom-related anxiety. Number 3, skill-specific anxiety, and the last is socially imposed anxiety. And on the second week, the authors had foreigners who helped them to stimulate recall. On this second week, actually, the researchers not doing a lot. They only prepared for the question to the participant. For the participant, played the video by twice in order to students remember at the moment. And then the last is on third week. This is the interview. So the concept on this interview is the student watch the video when their presentation, and then the students can pause the video if they all want to recall or rewind or remembering at the moment. And while the student is pause the video, the researchers can give the question to the information. And while the interview, the participant could speak their first language, which is Indonesia, for better articulation, quality, feel, expression without having to deal with second barrier language. And after this was collect how the researchers did their data analysis. This study was involved the interview pace, which took around 11 until 24 minutes for each participant by translating from English, Indonesia, and English, and the research met a joint agreement. So according to Brown, recommends that qualitative research apply iterator reliability to increase reliability. We conducted iterator reliability by having each of us code the answer from respondent into several themes. Specifically, in this study, the themes were both researches were in consensus were moments when students feel nervous and feel anxiety by the coping strategies they use. The point difference were removed from the final categories. And then now we're gonna look. Um, this is seems like a research objective, related of the research objective, which is finding and discussion. Those are the participants with their moment when they feel anxious and how they reduce and mask their anxious at the moment. The first is Jim. His level anxiety at 3 or medium. He nervous when he doing his presentation and he tried to stay calm to mask his anxiety. Number 2 is John. His level anxiety at 2. He also nervous when he doing his presentation and he tried to use his cycle to reduce his anxiety. The next is Sarah. Sarah also appeared to experience similar problems, but Sarah more optimistic attitude and she often to look her friend to give more power for her. The next is Sasha. She was appeared higher anxiety during the presentation. She also indicated having adopted resignation strategies. And the last is Wendy. She rated her level of anxiety a 4. She appeared more anxious about her performance, not on her presentation. She takes some notes and read the notes to less her anxiety. And okay, this is the conclusion. I have 5 conclusion. Number 1 is stimulated recall was called success on this research. Why? It's because stimulated recall is one of the way to dig the information of each participant to recall or remember at the moment. Second is there are some strategies which they should to do before their presentation. Number 3, there are 2 pattern people who are have a higher anxiety and lower anxiety. Next is how the teacher attitude and action to take the student regarding anxiety. So the teacher have to plan or have to know how far their student have an anxiety. The last is found that students with lower FLA tended to show better coping skills. FLA, foreign language anxiety, because why the lower FLA is tended to show better coping skills because they use a good coping skill strategies by well like stay calm, positive thinking, and so on. So um, many of them, the lower FLA is a better have a coping skill than a higher anxiety, higher FLA anxiety, and then this recommendation. This research entails some limitation. For that reason, recommendations are presented for researchers who are interested in conducting a similar study in the future. First, there is the limitation of student self-rated anxiety level division in the research. Future researchers can further investigate the level of students' language anxiety using a more reliable scale, such as FLCAS, Horsworth et al., and Trang et al. And before I close the presentation, I have an awesome words. Your action and your words should always agree with each other and don't say one thing, then do another. It means that you don't have to worry to talk everything that you want, and don't worry with people are judging you because make a mistake. It's okay when you have a still learning. Exactly from those mistakes we can learn a lot of and correct the mistake. And one thing you should remember that you don't ever and you don't stop to run the problem you have, solve it completely, even though it takes time, a long time, rather than forgetting and instead running to other things. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for your attention. And if you have any question, let me know. Um, yeah, if there's any question, or then I close immediately.
I think it's enough. Your explanation is really great. I don't know. What, Dian?
Dian, any question?
From me, there is a question.
Oh no, okay. I think that's enough. Thank you so much. Wabillahi taufiq hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And next is Harunsa.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, wait. Wish me luck. Yang mana sih? Wait. Ini udah belum sih? Belum ya? Pencetnya yang jendela atau tab?
Up to you. Yang tab, it's okay.
Aku nggak bisa pencet share. Oh, oke. Wait.
You have to open your PPT first.
I was. Udah apa?
Belum muncul sih, tapi udah mulai present. Oke, udah.
Udah ya? Malu banget. Oke. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So this is my name and my identity number, and our course, of course, research and methodology in ELT. I get the third article. In the title is EMI in Indonesian Higher Education Stakeholders Perspective. And this article written by Nurmala Elmin Simbolon in Politeknik Negeri Pontianak, Jalan Ahmad Yani Pontianak, West Kalimantan, Indonesia. And here is the digital object identifier or DOI. You can see here the number. And the keywords of this article is EMI, Content and Language Integrated Learning, Content-Based Language Teaching and Higher Education. So first, I want to make sure that higher education here means the university, okay? Not SMA or SMP, but university. Then next is background in general. Firstly, I want to explain what is EMI. So EMI is the use of English language to teach academic subjects such as mathematics, physics, or other. Or in university, we have different subjects and maybe like business management or something like that. In a country where the first language of the majority of the population is not English. So it's like the first language or the mother language is not English, like us Indonesia. So our first language is Indonesia, and our English is the foreign language. So the country that implied EMI is a country like that. And also in European and Asian context, EMI or English, methods of English medium of instructions, also known as CLIL, or Content Language Integrated Learning. So, back to the background, there are some reasons why these research are conducted. I took 3 reasons. The first one is many universities in Indonesia are striving towards becoming internationally renowned universities. Like they want to have a relationship between their university and other foreign university, like transfer credit students and something like that. And then the second reason is the university implied English as medium of instruction because of the first reason. We know that English is very important in this era, so university tried to imply English as medium of instructions, especially in their subjects. Then the last reason is there was a gap between policymakers' perspectives and the articulation about English proficiency in department curriculum. And then the next is the backgrounds in the specific. So this article is specifically explain about EMI was implemented in the university. Was the study conducted at least 4 years? It was stopped and generate interest for researchers to conduct research about the stakeholders' view to this condition. So this EMI, this university where the study is conducted, was implemented EMI from 2010 until 2014. It's equal 4 years, and then in 2014 it was stopped and make the researcher interest to know what happened in this university, something like that. Okay, then this is the research questions. There are 2 questions explicitly written by the researcher in case to know what's problem faced. So the first is what are the lecturers and authorities' perspective on the rationales for and support to be available for the implementations of EMI at the university. So it's like the how rationals EMI to imply in this university, and what's kind of support that we need to imply EMI in this university. And the last question is what does current policy of the university state about EMI? These questions will be answered in the findings slide. Okay, next. Okay, there are the research objectives. In line with the research questions, research objective, also known as the goal of the research, the problem is become the main thing to be considered what's really happened in case to arrange the questions that can help us more about the problem. So research objectives and research questions sometimes in one place, so they two is connected each other. So I get 6 research objectives in this article. The first one, the EMI program Indonesia itself. The second is EMI program in university was the study health. The third is position of EMI in curriculum. Next is stakeholders' perspective about EMI that has been started and up, especially in the university of the study. Next is the next planning of EMI in English language teaching, and also why EMI. Next is research method, especially in participants. How the researchers get the participants. Okay, this research was conducted in Utama University, pseudonym, of course not the real name of the university. In 2015, the study was held for 6 months, as suggested by Yin, 2009. Participant of this research was divided into 2 groups that is related to the cases of this research. The first group consists of the lecturers who having experience in EMI, and also the university authorities who having responsibilities relevant to EMI. So here is the name of the lecturers and the authorities. Here is Nani, who teach QMS, or we known as Quality Management System, for 3 years, and Susan also QMS teach in EMI for 3 years. Also Budi, Hasan, Luna Asri, and so on. And the second group is Abdul, Mechanical Engineering. He is the director? Yes, director of the university, and Nurul is the vice director, and Saleh is the staff. Next is research method. This is the method how this research conducted. In data collection, the first step is lecturers group is selected based on their EMI experience, English proficiency, and also university authority selected by the relevance of the role within the institution. So both of lecturers or the authorities must be having a connection with Emmy or experience with Emmy before. And then the number 3 is they are get the letter of explanation regarding the purpose of procedure of research signed by them as a form of agreement. So before the research is conducted, they will get like a form that is explain about the purpose and procedure of research, and they have to sign it in case to mark that they are willingness to join the research. And then the first group serve as the first interview and being analyzed by the researcher. And then the other group is conducted interview 6 months later after the first group is interviewed, and some of participants using English when the interview conducted. The rest who used Indonesia was transcribed by the researcher and was proofread by the proficient academic staff member from an Australian university. So this research conducted in Indonesia, and some of the lectures and authorities using English, and the other is using Indonesia. So who is using Indonesia is transcribed into English by the researcher and then proofread by someone who act as academic staff member from Australia University. And the last is the result of interview shown by a table who consists of the research questions. The next is research method in case of data analysis. So this research used two data analysis. The first is thematic and content analysis. So the thematic analysis is used for the interview's transcript, and the content analysis used for the comment analysis as suggested by Gryffindor. Next. And we are talking about research findings. So here is the table that I told before, where here is the research question that I told before, and here is the questions 1 and question 2, and this table is about university stakeholders' response on Emmy practice. The first question is rationales for Emmy, and the lectures is summary. In summary, I write this, and students' English skills graduates employability institutional vision for the year of 2020. So, okay, I forget to enter it. So the first answer from the lectures is why Emmy is rationals is because it will help the improve English skills for graduates in this university. And the second answer is to institutional vision for the year of 2020. As I told before, that this university is trying to renown their university, become more global. And the question seems for the authorities, and the answer is slightly same. So the first answer is students' English skill graduates employability, and it's the same answer. And institutional vision for the year 2020 globalization MEA, or we know as Masyarakat Ekonomi ASEAN. We know that this era we are really global, so English is really important. And the last answer is to support international office unit program. And the second question is training of English and Emmy teaching skills. Oh, I think it's wrong. Oh, sorry. This question must be the support of Emmy. What support we have to provide when we want to implement Emmy. So the lectures answer is training of English and Emmy teaching skills. I will fix it later. Okay, sorry guys. And then the authorities answer is more various, and they thinks that we have to provide more things than the lecture said. The first answer is to the provision of training of Emmy, same as lecture said. We need training before we imply Emmy. and lack of English lectures rules, current curriculum to practice, ME students' final project, giving extra reward incentives to ME lectures. So this is quite interesting because the incentives is not said by the lecturers but by the authorities. While it means that authorities thinks the incentives really need by the lecturers as the person who teach in ME program. And then this is the explanation from the table, more explanation about the table, rationals for ME. Why ME is rationals? The first answer is because it can help students improve their English skills, and it was agreed by lecturers and the authorities, and also and I can say it's said by the lecturers and authorities, and we can see it in journal. And the second is the outcome that coming because children are familiar with English. The third is support the university's vision for 2020, as I told before, and globalization also. Masyarakat Ekonomi ASEAN. Here is necessary support for ME. So the first necessary support for ME that agreed by the lecturers and authorities is the training, as I told before. And second support is the incentives given to the lecturers. And the last is the current curriculum, which is suitable for ME program. It's become problem because some of curriculum in the course is not suitable for ME program or not matched. So we have to arrange it and in a good condition. And then ME policy agreement at the university. Okay, wait, I want to see. Okay. ME policy agreement at the university. So the university where this research conducted, called as Utama University, as I told before, doesn't have written agreement regarding to the ME program. Yes, same as the curriculum, as I explained before, that we don't have, or this university doesn't have written agreement regarding to the ME program. So the policy agreement is not clear. And the second is the agreement of English course have to be examined. Of course, it's related to the first reason that I told. And then some course applied ESP, the other is not. So at least there is a course that implied ME in this university, if I'm not mistaken. And not of all is this course applied ESP. So for example, like, okay, wait. For example, in civil engineering and planning, the English course is only called as English 1 or English 2, but the other business course maybe is like business speaking or the other. So it's shown that some of this course in this university applied ESP and or we know English specific purpose, but the other is not. So the policy agreement also is not clear. So here is the discussions. Perspectives on ME. Okay, the first one, both groups of stakeholders perceive the importance of English skills for their students and graduates. So both of lecturers and authorities agreed that English skills is really important for their students and graduates because it can. Okay, look for the second reason. It's become a golden ticket to the global competition for the university graduates. So we know that English is very universal. So all of conversation or other is using English as the main language. So when their university graduates able to speak or know English really great, so they have a global ticket for the competition in the global. And ME policy agreement, there is a need for macro-level policy to clearly articulate which language and types of regulation to be practiced in the classroom. So it's like, seems like the curriculum and the ESP before that we need a clear policy agreement which can divide what course that have to be ME or or not. And then the second is the inconsistency between stakeholders' perspective in the agreement in the curriculum. Okay, it's also a problem because the stakeholder says that in their opinion that English is really important for their students and university graduates, but in fact they are not. What is it? Show the related act, like when they are say it's really important but in their curriculum it's not really clear, something like that. And the last slide is the conclusion. So the first conclusion that I get from this article is that there is a shared belief between the lecturers and the university leaders regarding the importance English to improve graduate skill for global competition. We know that global competition is needed English as the main language. So when students and graduates having English very well, so they have the gold ticket. And the last conclusion is the positive perfection is the potential to develop CBLT or CLIL. As I told before that ME also known as LIEL, or we can also known as CBLT, content-based language teaching. But this case study is limited to one state university in a big country, Indonesia. So, for remember that this research can be implied in all of university in Indonesia. It's only limited because not all university using ME or not all university having unclear agreement of ME and something like that. Okay, we are in the last slide. Actually, here is the last slide that I think that's all for me. Do you guys have questions? I hope
To be honest, I have a question, but I don't know if this question or not. You said that the stakeholders said that English is important, tapi di kurikulum nyatanya enggak. Jadi sebenarnya apa hambatan atau faktor apa yang ternyata itu nggak di-apply gitu?
Oke, Indonesia aja ya. Intinya itu mereka memiliki satu shared belief that they think that English is very important. Tapi di sini nggak ada written agreement that says that yang menunjukkan kalau mereka memang benar-benar mendukung English itu untuk dilaksanakan gitu. Pada dasarnya mereka melaksanakan itu di beberapa course, like I told before, tapi masalahnya di sini cuma tidak ada writing agreement. Tunggu, wait,
I think you have to stop sharing first.
Oh, okay. I forget. Okay. So. Sebenarnya kita punya gitu written agreement yang menunjukkan kalau English itu penting, tetapi tidak menunjukkan kepada kalau itu harus ME gitu loh. Mana ya, tunggu. Wow, I forget where is it. Okay, this one. Ya, di sini ada Law of National Education. Di sini menyebutkan nomor 20 tahun 2003, mereka bilang kalau Indonesian education system from primary education to higher education which bears no emphasis of the agreement of English language as the medium of instruction in educational institutions. Jadi kalau katanya law ini, mereka bilang kalau education system dari primary to higher itu which bears no emphasis. What is no emphasis? I forget what is. Sorry. Tunggu. Have to cross check first. Oke, nggak ada, intinya tuh nggak ada tekanan kalau mereka harus punya sistem yang mengharuskan mereka menggunakan EMI gitu loh. Jadi mereka boleh pakai atau enggak, tapi nggak ada tekanan atau emphasis di sana yang bikin mereka harus imply EMI in their university, something like that.
Intinya tuh nggak wajib gitu ya, tapi itu dikatakan penting.
Ya, terus
gitu.
Terus di Law Education number 12, 2012, no explicit mention about having ELIS course is the university curriculum either. So di our law pun, di our hukum pun nggak ada written agreement gitu kalau mereka harus pakai EMI di universitinya. Mungkin di sini maksud dari penelitinya itu cuman melihat dari pandangan stakeholdersnya, kenapa mereka itu tidak bikin writing agreement. Mungkin karena mereka mengikuti dari yang laws yang aku bilang tadi, padahal mereka itu yakin kalau English itu important gitu loh. Cuman mereka tidak menunjukkan dengan menuliskan writing agreement tadi. Something like that. Sorry if I'm mistaken.
Okay, you can close now.
How about Dian?
From
No questions?
No.
Okay, this is the end of our presentation. So I close or Dian close?
You can close.
Okay. Okay, good job, guys. Thank you for your participations today, and I hope we get a new things to know about these 3 articles. And I will close by saying Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.